They just moved Joe Flacco, and that simple transaction changes everything for Shedeur Sanders, even if the headlines don't shout it. The Browns dealt the 40-year-old veteran to Cincinnati, and overnight, the quarterback room that felt muddled now has clearer lines. Dillon Gabriel stays the starter, and Shedeur is suddenly the official number 2. A promotion that sounds huge on paper but comes with a pile of nuance in practice. Reuters, here's the obvious first-order effect. The trade removes the veteran cushion between Gabriel and Sanders. That matters because who's sitting behind your starter isn't just a backup. It's the insurance policy that shapes game planning, practice reps, and in-game decision trees. With Flacco gone, the Browns can no longer hand the emergency keys to a longtime pro and instead have to decide whether they want a raw rookie, Sanders, in single-game ready shape, or a more veteran bridge like Bailey Zappe if they choose to sign one. Right now, the team's public position is simple. Sanders is QB2, Gabriel is QB1. That clarity short-circuits one small layer of organizational ambiguity. New York Post, but the trade doesn't magically make Sanders ready to lead the offense. There are 3 real, practical thresholds the team is weighing every day: schematic fit, game planning, and psychological readiness. First, coaches worry about matchups and scheme. If the offense is tuned to Dillon Gabriel's strengths, his reads, his timing, designed rollouts, being forced to throw a different profile into a game midstream is a recipe for chaos. That's why teams historically have kept veteran backups who can run a starter system if needed. Without Flacco, the Browns either accept a greater risk of schematic mismatch if Sanders is thrust in, or retool the week's approach to build Sanders a real usable plan if they expect he might play. CBSSports.com. Second, practice reps and the 53-man roster matter in a concrete way. As QB2, Sanders will be active on game day and available immediately. He won't be one of the inactives like a QB3 who's only there as emergency cover. That means more warm-ups, more sideline preparation, and the potential for earlier in-game involvement. 2-minute drills, mop-up situations, scripted series. Those small reps matter a lot for a rookie's development curve. The difference between inactive and active is more than status. It's live learning. CBSSports.com. Third, there's the psychological arc. Sanders has always had big confidence. Public statements about competing with NFL starters showed that, but confidence and preparedness aren't identical. Being the official backup raises expectations from teammates, coaches, and fans. It also changes how opposing defenses plan. They'll now scout Sanders' tape and test him in different ways. For a rookie whose college system and pro resume are still being translated to NFL speed, that's both an opportunity and a pressure cooker. CBSSports.com. So what could the Browns actually do next? There are a few realistic paths. Stick with the current setup and let Sanders grow in-house. That means keeping Bailey Zappe or another veteran off the active roster, trusting Gabriel as the clear starter while letting Sanders soak up film, reps, and late-game minutes as the coaching staff deems fit. It's the developmental choice. Give the rookie time and space, but accept the risk that he may be forced to play in a bad spot. Sign or elevate a veteran like Zappe to be the immediate job-ready backup. That preserves a safety valve and lets Sanders keep developing without being the safety net. It also buys the Browns time to evaluate Sanders without throwing him to the wolves. Mix and match week to week. Use Sanders in controlled packages while relying on an experienced hand for pure emergency duties. That's fiddly and requires careful roster gymnastics, but it's a middle ground. Each option has trade-offs. Keep Sanders active and you accelerate his learning curve and his market value, but increase the risk of him being exposed in a high-leverage situation. Add a vet and you blunt that risk but slow Sanders' practical growth. Coaches and front offices hate binary choices because every roster move has ripple effects on contracts, practice time, and locker room dynamics. There's also the optics and message to consider. Trading Flacco for a draft pick signals a longer-term posture. The Browns are moving away from veteran stopgaps and toward younger options they can shape. For Sanders personally, this is a moment of clarity. The path to playing time is shorter now, but so is the margin for error. If Gabriel stumbles or gets hurt, headlines will read Shedeur time. Not because the team guaranteed it, but because circumstance will force it. Reuters practically, what should we watch for in the next few weeks? First, look at practice reports. Who's taking the majority of the scout team reps? Who's the quarterback in third down simulations and red zone drills? Those subtleties show where the coaches are actually placing trust. Second, watch the active roster moves. Does Cleveland add a veteran backup or leave Sanders as the unquestioned number two? Third, listen to the coaching language, not the platitudes, but the specifics about preparing for an opponent if Sanders had to play. Concrete preparation talk signals real belief, vague optimism signals caution. Finally, the human factor. Shedeur's transition is more than X's and O's. He's the son of a high-profile coach, he's entering a locker room with rotating expectations, and he's learning under national spotlight. That can be fuel or a burden. The best outcome for the Browns and for Sanders is a calibrated plan, controlled snaps designed to build real confidence, a clear emergency role that doesn't expose him to reckless situations, and honest coaching feedback that accelerates progress without sacrificing the team's short-term competitiveness. Bottom line, the Flacco trade hardly guarantees Sanders a starting job, but it does deliver the clearest pathway he's had since arriving in the NFL. The moment is now more his than it used to be, but it's still a long, detail-filled climb from being QB2 on paper to being a dependable NFL starter. How Cleveland manages the next few weeks, practice reps, roster decisions, and game plan construction will write the first real chapter of Shedeur Sanders' NFL story. If he wants to seize it, he'll need to be ready the way rookies rarely have to be, fast, accurate, and calm when the lights snap on.